So, Garth, taking all that on board, how unhelpful were the comments by Susan Lee and Paul Scar broadcast this morning? I know both of them. I saw Paul Scar at the airport this morning. He was on his way to Western Sydney to reassure the Indian community that the Liberal Party is not racist. Aren't they simply reinforcing the Labor messaging? It's pretty unhelpful.
I think the worst bit we're doing is we're talking about ourselves. I mean, we're trying to rebuild here. We're trying to come back after a devastating election and to say to the Australian people that we're together, we're organised, we're coordinated, we're going to really try hard to get some good policy on the table. And instead, we're talking about ourselves. I don't think the Australian people are concerned about what we think of each other. They want to see us actually get involved in these conversations, have a proper fight and separate ourselves from Labor on issues that matter. That's what we should be talking about. Every time we're talking about ourselves, it's very unhelpful.
Yeah, look, you're not wrong, absolutely. I want to ask you about the scenes at Bondi today. Of course, another Aussie landmark tarnished. Pro-Palestine protesters rocked up. They went for a little paddle out to sea in support of Gaza. Now, obviously, this is an area with a high Jewish population. They knew exactly what they were doing. It turned ugly, of course, when pro-Israel and pro-Palestine protesters clashed. So what's your reaction to what we saw? But also the fact that it appeared that everyday Aussies rocked up. They were waving the Aussie flag, telling the pro-Palestinian group where to go.
This is not my vision for Australia. This is not what I want. This isn't what we should be seeing in Australia. I'm absolutely sick of this. I'm sick of this. And I'm not going to pretend that there's two equal sides here to blame. One of these sides is still holding hostages. And yet they're going to go around pretending that they have some legitimacy in this argument. I'm absolutely sick of it. I don't want to see it anymore. And I think it's about time that we just crack down on this and said, look, enough. You shouldn't be bringing these sort of troubles into Australia. They have nothing to do with our nation. We should draw a line under this and just walk away from this altogether. I'm sick of it.
Yeah, I think most Australians would absolutely agree with you. We spoke just a second ago about migration. According to a report in the Wall Street Journal, populist or far-right parties are leading in the polls for the first time in the UK, France and Germany, a sign of growing voter discontent after years of high immigration and inflation. Obviously, we saw the huge marches against mass immigration last weekend. Can I put it to you, Garth, Australians have lost faith in our immigration system, not just in the numbers, but also in the quality of people being allowed to stay here. Do you think that's fair? And what can government do to reassure people about our immigration system?
Well, I think you're right. I think Australians have lost faith in our immigration system. I was in the UK in the lead up to Brexit when there was an open door policy over there. And I remember watching a Welsh town the church changed denomination because of the overwhelming number of immigrants that came in. This is the church that's been standing for a couple of hundred years. And the local people felt terrible about this. And you saw this build-up of emotion in the UK on the issue of immigration. And it played a huge part in Brexit. And sadly, I think we're seeing something not too dissimilar in Australia right now to what we've seen over there and what we're seeing in other parts of the world as well. We've lost faith that our immigration program is being used for the benefit of our citizens and for this country. And that's a real shame because we are a migrant nation, but we're not a stupid nation. And our policies have been hurting us and they've been barely keeping our economy growing, but making everyone's share of the pie that much smaller as we bring people in at too quick a rate. This is something that needs to change. If we're going to win people's trust back, we need to show that we acknowledge it, number one, that we have a different plan, that's number two, and three, we need to explain why. We need to put our vision for what Australia should look like. It shouldn't be this hard to buy a house. It shouldn't be this hard to get into schools or these lineups that we have at hospitals or at the doctor's surgery. We shouldn't be experiencing this. And that's a different vision we have to lay out for Australia.
Yeah, you're spot on. There needs to be a debate. It wasn't front and centre the last two elections, and we cannot get everyday Aussies into homes. There needs to be a conversation. I think you're right. Now, look, Garth, as power bills keep going up and up under the renewables-only magic carpet ride, it seems that the true cost of net zero is being laid to bear. A Business Council of Australia report has found cutting emissions by 70% or more would carry a price tag of up to $530 billion. Gee, Garth, remember when Labor drummed up that $600 billion price tag for the coalition's nuclear policy? And where did that get them?
Absolutely. Look, this is fantastic. I remember when we said we had to sign up to net zero because business wanted us to. Well, clearly that's changed. So clearly that excuse is gone now. But to give you an example of just what the scale of this spend is, this would be like running a second NDIS and then spending another $100 billion on top of that. That's how big this is. That's how huge an impact this is on our economy. And this is just going to go through. This is what we're told is the right thing for Australia, and we all have to agree with it. People on my own side still want to say that there's an economic driver for this. There's not. It's nonsense. We need to walk away from it as quickly as possible. Net zero is not about the impact on regional communities. Yes, there is an impact there. We need to change this conversation. Net zero is about the impact on every single house, every single business in Australia, the huge burden it's going to put on all of us, and it's going to drag our economy under.
Garth Hamilton, you're a straight shooter. You're not afraid to say it how it is. That's why we like you. Thanks for joining us tonight.